As I hyperventilate, holy cow, what's happening in Secret Beach? Oh my God. That sounded like a good idea until it happened. It's time for the May webinar. And look who's joining us. Gentlemen, that is Dan Wright, and he looks like Yoda.
Oh, hey, like Yoda. Yoda's going to hit me in the face. Whoa, Yoda. Whoa, calm down. No, stop. I gotta get him out of the way. He's getting a little crazy here. Hello.
Buddy, let me talk about real quick, why we're doing what we're doing tonight. I had this message earlier. I see it in the chat. I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I hate you, but that's fine.
Who are you?
Huge fan. Obviously, Dan's here because he's a huge fan. I watched Star Wars in the theater 4 times when I was 8 years old. No. Including one time at the drive-in. I saw it once at the drive-in. And it changed my life at that young age, and I thoroughly have enjoyed it ever since. Now, I used to have a good collection. I've since sold it. My collection is Tiki, as you know. As you can see behind Dan, he still has his collection and still works on it like I work on my Tiki collection. So we are going to talk Star Wars tonight, collecting, buying and selling. And the big thing that I've been trying to teach everyone is there are many people, maybe not you guys, but there are many people who either live their passion in their collection, or if they don't live it and look like it every day, like I don't think Dan dresses up and goes to work as Boba Fett, but he's got his whole collection behind him. I don't wear a Hawaiian shirt every day, but I do have plenty of good ones. And I did wear a special t-shirt for tonight. So before we get going, let's see who the first one is to figure out this t-shirt. Let me switch to this camera because it'll be clearer. There we go. All right. Who can figure out right here? There are a couple things going on. Let me show off my chest. Okay, we have, how many people we got live right now? Well, yes, but very specifically, what is it from the Haunted Mansion? Who is this? Who is this? Because, yeah, Ken and Felicia got it. And Ghosts. So, yeah, they're the 3 dead ones. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Yoda as Hitchhiking Ghosts. So, yes. I love shirts that jam 2 things together. So, all right, let's. I'm just going to hand it off to Dan. Dan's got some pictures, so I will have them ready to go. So, Dan, you just tell me whenever you want any of those pictures, and I do have them in the order that you gave them to me, or that you wanted them.
Cool. But
why don't you, why don't you tell everyone how you got into Star Wars and then collecting, and I'm guessing you didn't start yesterday.
No, and I am an older guy, and I saw Star Wars in July of 1977 when it first came out. I came to California with a friend of mine from college. I was a freshman in college, came out for the summer, opened the LA Times, and there was this full-page ad about this star-type movie, space movie. We thought, oh, this is cool. Let's go see it. We'd never heard anything about it. I was far from that arena of that. I liked Star Trek and that kind of stuff from the day. But so anyhow, we went down. I got to see it at Grumman's Chinese Theater. We stood outside.
Oh, you.
For about we stood outside for about 2 hours. It was the first week that it opened. I don't remember. It was within the first week that it opened. I don't remember the exact date that I was there, but we stood outside for about 2 hours. Got like 4th row center. And the opening scene when the destroyer, is coming over your head like this was just like, from that moment on, I was hooked. It was just like my breath was gone because I'm sitting in front of this giant screen. It was really cool. So that was I was fortunate enough. Boy, I got to turn him off. He's going to fall off the.
He's like a bad kid. Daddy's trying to work. Now knock it off.
Hey, cut it out. He's going to knock me out with that lightsaber. Yeah, so that was my first, since. So I and it was funny because back then I was, I was in college. I had other things in my agenda, girls and cars and all that stuff. So Star Wars wasn't top of my list, and I wish it was, because I would have been buying all those toys. And if I was smart enough, I could have cleaned out the $2 toys, which is what they were selling for back then, and I'd have been a millionaire today, and I would have had the best collection in the world. But can't think about that kind of stuff. But yeah, so just real quick, historically. Oh, by the way, welcome to my room of lies. I don't know if you saw the Kraft macaroni and cheese commercial. So it was, I call this my room of lies, because it's toys you can't play with, books you can't read, and food you can't eat, because I have cereal boxes up here with Star Wars stuff on them. So I don't know if you've seen that commercial, but it's, you just research it on, look it up on YouTube. It's kind of cute. So I call this my room of lies. But this is what you get when you can kick your kids out of the house. You get to take over their room. So this is what you have to look forward to. If you don't have children, you don't have to worry about it. But I got 2 rooms now. I got an eBay room from one kid, and I got my Star Wars room from the other kid. So we're good to go. But so when Star Wars first came out in '77, George Lucas got the rights, the merchandising rights to everything for the movie. So that was probably the sweetest deal. He secured him for the rest of his life, was just getting the merchandising rights. So he tried to solicit, toy companies to make figures and to make toys, and no one would take it. No one would touch it. Finally, they talked to Kenner. Kenner, at the very last minute, it was only a month, I think it was like May or June of '77, when Kenner finally decided they'd sign up and they'd start making toys. Well, it's too late to have toys out for Star Wars. Star Wars opened in July. They were not going to be able to have toys out by Christmas, because it takes 18 months for the design, development, and production of that kind of toy line. So they did something that no other company's ever done, toy company's ever done, and a lot of the marketing people were really like freaking out over it. They offered for you to buy a certificate that would guarantee you 4 figures when they were made. So you're buying a piece of paper for something that might come out, and there was no specific date. It just said sometime like spring of '78 is when you'd get it. So they weren't really sure when it was going to come out. So that's where you start. That's the first Star Wars collectible that is like really important in the toy world.
All right. I don't know if Dan's frozen or I'm frozen, so I'm going to chat for a second. And let's see. So chat, let me know. Let's see here. Oh, we have lost Dan. All righty. So that was a quick webinar. And it's over. Nope. Let's hope Dan comes back. And I realize that I'm on and Dan is frozen. Dang. It was going so well. All right. Dan refreshes. So that'll be the shortest guest I've ever had on. Get out of here. You're gone. All right. So, hey, I have a couple of props I want to share with you, and I have a prop master. So prop master, can you bring in our first prop? Now, this I secured at a garage sale. No, at a flea market in the parking lot of a casino. And
where are you? Oh, it's over here.
No. Yeah. You're watching the feed, which is a little bit behind.
There we go.
So this is a giant X-Wing. They're a bitch to ship, and I was going to sell it and ship it. Thank you very much. But now with the apps, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, 5 Mile, whatever the heck it's called, on it, because someone in 2 million people in Vegas, someone's going to want that. All right, Dan dropped out, so hopefully Dan will come back. Dan and I ran a test, and we talked for 40. Don't show that yet. Don't show that yet. We ran a test for 40 minutes last night, and it was all fine. So this is bizarro that he just disappeared. The universe has hated me lately when it comes to technology. So let us let me show you some other ones, some other props I have. Let me message Dan and see what's happening. What's happening at your end? And luckily, I have a few props ready to rock and roll, so I will jump right into my props and show you guys what time it is. All right, cool. So hopefully he'll get Dan back and he'll get back to where he was and move us forward. But let me just jump ahead a little bit. And certain things that you were looking for. Oh, here comes Dan.
Am I back?
You're back. All right, Dan. I was.
The dark side got him.
Yes. No,
I know.
Dan went to.
I think Yoda cut something over here, swinging that lightsaber around. Is what I think. Where did I leave off? What was
All
I?
right, so now you are back, and you were telling us about paying money for action figures you wouldn't get for 6 months in the mail.
Okay, so I don't know where I got with that, but I'll just repeat the end of that. So basically, they came out with this early bird figure set, and it was basically just cardboard. If you see up the picture here, Jason's got it up on the screen. I think it's this is one that actually sold on eBay. This is recent sold on eBay. It's basically a cardboard backing and a cardboard base. And it basically got you ready for when you started buying your figures and you got your first set of 4 figures. This is what you'd put your figures on. Now this set's not complete. This one that sold for $550 is just, I think it's just those 3 pieces of cardboard, and there's the little pins. If you see a little plastic baggie down there, pins to hold your figures on. But if you can find one that's in the original mailing envelope, then you're even better. If you can get the original mailing envelope, you could probably double the money on a mailing envelope for one of those. So, and then the next picture is what you actually got and these came out, they came out in March of '78. So these were the very first figures released to the public. And it was the Luke and Leia and Chewie and R2-D2, and there were some pins in there to hold them onto the stand again. When you got these in a brown wrapper, there wasn't anything fancy. And this set sold for $531, and I don't believe this set had the original wrapper paper. There are some of these that you can buy that are unopened. There's been a few of these pop up unopened. They're still sealed and taped up in the original box from Kenner. The guys have taken that X-ray, and you can see the X-rays of the figures inside. And
wow, X-rays.
Yeah, they X-ray them to prove what's in them, and then they sell them for a couple $1,000s. I've seen them go. They're really. It's because there's not very many of those that are still sealed in the package from '78, right? So anyhow, that's like the very first Star Wars toys. There were some early, some of the first carded figures that came out, and let me go to let's go to the next one, which is the set of 12 backs. So they started selling them. There's one, I think maybe it's the 3rd or 4th picture. I may have skipped it in this set. It's
this one.
No, it's one more. Let's go one more first, and then we'll go back to these.
This one?
No, it's an eBay screen capture of. Oh, did I include it? I thought I included.
Yes, yeah. I did these in the. Oh, is this it?
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, cool.
So these were the first figures that came out individually. They're called they're carded. You'll hear the term MOC, which is mint on card, or they'll call them mock. So these are mock figures, which means they're in mint condition. They're on their cards, and these are the first 12. These sets are highly desirable. As you can see, this set sold for about $8,000, and they can go for even higher depending on their condition. Like, condition is really super important, as it is with all collectibles. The bubbles, the plastic bubbles, can't have any dents in them. They can't be cut. The paper can't be folded. The cards can't be folded. The other thing that's real important about them, and there's a hole in the top up here where they would hang them on a pegboard, in the toy stores, and it's a punch hole. And if they're unpunched and they still have the piece of cardboard inside of there, that raises the value in the card or in the figure, overall figure itself. Price tags and tags on the front sometimes make a difference, but lately it's the trend is going toward leaving. You don't ever want to take these off because you'd end up ripping the paper. So you never want to take these off. These old prices, like this one's like for $2.39 from a store called Murphy's, which I never heard of. But most of them were like Toys R Us, the old Toys R Us and Playco and all those kind of stores. But they like these on here because they kind of date the actual card and show that it's a real card. We're going to talk about fakes and stuff here and reproductions here, but it's kind of one sign that this could be an original piece because it's got the price tag on it. But so those are 12 backs. Now I call them 12 backs, and you see they call it a 12 back. The reason why they're called that, at the back of every card, and in this case, this is the back. And I think I have one now. The next picture, I show you the back of one. Let's see, that one. So that's a 12 back, and the reason why I know it's a 12 back, it says right up here, 12 authentically designed figures. So the first series that came out, there were 12 figures, and they were printed with this type of back of the card that said 12, that there were 12 figures in the set. These are the first ones. These are the most desirable, like you were seeing. They were like $8,000 for that set. So that's a 12 back. Go to the next picture.
Yep.
And this one is a 21 back. So the next wave of figures that they created were still related to the original Star Wars movie, the first one, and Hope, but they added some additional figures. So guess what? Now there's 21 figures in a wave. So if it says on there, collect all 21 Star Wars action figures. So this carded figure is called a 21 back, because it has this back that has 21. So this kind of dates the cards, you know, and you can kind of see as we go on, like go to the next card.
I will say though, if you've never seen the movies, George was a marketing genius, because most of these characters, like especially like Power Droid and Snaggletooth, they're barely in the movie,
yeah,
but yet
exactly.
He's got you buying the figures. Genius. Let me guess, 45 back? Oh, no. Dan's internet. Oh, my gosh. I told you, we practiced for 40 minutes last night, and all was good. So, all right. So, we're back to my props. Okay. So Dan said, you know, I can tell that's going to be the 45 back. Now, this is the 65 back, and this is, I'm selling my friend's collection. Now, the bummer is, he was checking them off as he bought them. So that's going to detract from the value a little bit. But the fact that I still have the card, and even though it's been obviously torn off, but the card is in good shape, adds to the value. Now, when I first started working on his collection a long time ago.
Yeah.
Hi, Dan.
That's going to be one of those nights, I have this feeling. Okay.
All right.
So, where were we? So, yeah, so this one is a 45 back that you're showing on here. And this one is one that I focus on as collection. There's 45 characters now available in the set, figures in the set, and there was a limited run of just the 45 backs, kind of in the middle of the 41 backs, and the next one, which is a 65 back, 48 back. And so I've tried, because, you know, I like, if you're a collector and you want to collect anything, you could pretty much just buy everything in sight, and it gets a little expensive, and that's the way it is with the Star Wars stuff. When you're looking at buying new stuff and vintage stuff and then trying to complete sets and series, you have to kind of put a focus on it somewhere. So what I'm trying to do is focus on one for carded figures on the 45 backs. But anyhow, let's see, do I have another card? I think this might be the last. I think I showed you three cards.
Yes, what I was showing while you were off Dead Man's Land. I was showing, where am I?
Oh, you got one.
Are you gone? Am I gone?
No, we're good.
I might be stuck. Am I stuck?
I don't see you on the big screen. I just see.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I've got a 65 back here, and unfortunately, what my friend was doing was crossing them off as he got them.
All right.
So that's the bummer on the back, but the front's in good shape.
Yeah.
You know, so for the most part, the front's in good shape, and for some reason, he didn't like the barcode because he crossed that off too.
Well, you know what's funny is the proof of purchase is on there. That's usually the first thing that they cut off the cards, because that proof of purchase was good. If you collected like 6 of those, you could get a free character. Like they would have a Boba Fett character, or Boba Fett figure coming out, or Anakin, or some other. You'll see the ads on some of these. Usually it's usually on. So I don't have a card in front of me that has the ad. It'll usually have an ad on the front or the back that says, "Hey, collect 10 proof of purchases and you get a special set, or you get whatever, something special." Like here's one I don't mind. This one here is cut out. And that's what you usually see: holes cut, or entire sections like this one. They'll do this, cut the whole corner out of it.
Oh, wow.
And it's pretty common to find cards now, but card collecting even has become a big thing. See, you notice I've got these cards, and Jason has cards that are. So what's amazing is that somebody actually back in 1980 or 70 or 7 or whenever they bought these cards actually kept them, and threw them in a drawer and kept them, took the toy out of it and kept them. And so to actually get these are kind of unique. There's a lot of them around. A lot of them are cut up. A lot of people are collecting them now, and that's another focus. Is just I have this wall that you see over here. The top part of that wall is my card collection. I've got as many as I can fit up there on the wall. And I also collect comic books, and I've got Star Wars comic books that are graded comic books that I'm going through and doing that too. So I've got my Star Wars comic books up on that wall too. But so anyhow, another thing, so when you're looking at actually figures and loose figures, so we can go to the loose figures. That's where you're going to find a lot more affordable and a lot more available right now. Loose figures such as a little Boba Fett right here, and I know Jason had a whole bunch in his picture. I've got a Luke here. So to identify these, you can look on the back, and on the back of their leg, it's embossed with the copyright date that the figure was made. Now, most of them are copyrighted in 1977. Some of the characters that appeared brand new in the movie, like Enterprise or Empire Strikes Back, they're going to have like a 1980 copyright on them. But if it was an original figure from the first movie and the first release, it'll still have a 77 copyright. Even if it was made in 1980 or made in 83 or whatever, it'll still have the copyright on it. So it's not really the date it was made. It's just the copyright that when the design was copyrighted. But it also on the back tells you where it was made. I think Hong Kong made some, Taiwan made some, and you'll see the abbreviations on there. If you see one that says Lily, Lily, that was made in Europe, and they were made. Those were made in other countries. It's a foreign country made. So those are kind of valuable. A lot of people are looking for the loose figures of that. I almost dumped a bunch of stuff over. So show my picture real quick.
Of which picture?
That one shot up there right now. The gun one. All the guns.
Okay, cool.
Oh, the one on the cart. Yeah.
All the guns.
So one of the things you want to do if you're going to sell, and if you're going to pick them up, whether you're collecting or if you're, and by the way, I'm a reseller also. Star Wars isn't my main reselling thing. I've been selling on eBay for about 6 years, and I like toys, and I do a lot of toy resale. So I'm going to try to approach this with the Secret Beach, idea of, what if you find these, and you're gonna be really like, the first thing you should do if you find like a whole bag of Star Wars toys like this is call me first. Send me an email. I'm Jason, right? It's me. Okay, remember me. I like collecting them. I do some resale, but
so you might
multiple top of things, and I'm ready to probably pin.
All right, I think Dan's Wi-Fi is gonna beat the death of me. You sound like RFID4 exploding.
I'm still here. I still see myself here. Am I still here?
Yeah, but you sounded like a robot for a few seconds there.
Okay. All right, it was almost like I was going, huh? Okay. So weapons, okay, or accessories are kind of an important thing because.
All right, Dan, I'm going to have you hop out and come back in. All right.
Okay, I'll try it.
I see you, but you sound like weird. So I'm going to hop back in here and show what I was showing. So
okay, go ahead.
Hop back out and come back in. All right. So let me see. I think I'm up on the screen now. So I'll go back to talking about the Ugnaught. So this is the one I was showing you guys. And how big are the guns? I've been just asked.
They're tiny.
They're right here. So they are very small. So you got to keep your eye out for them. So here's a tiny little.
So I am here, but I don't hear you, Jason, and I show you muted on my little picture down here. I may have to go off and come back again. There we go.
Hello?
I think we're back. I don't know what's going on. This is so weird. We
I
did our
know.
test, like you said the other day, and it worked. It was working fine, and then all of a sudden, it's like jumping all over the place. I didn't do anything different than the last time we tested, but oh well. It's
So
crazy.
yeah, someone said the Trekkies have gotten us.
Yeah, probably, yeah. So I don't.
All right.
So what,
Do you guys hear either one of us? Chat. Yay. Okay. Go ahead. We're both back, Dan.
oh, you were all gone too? Oh, okay. Oh, geez.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's been nutty. I don't know what's going on tonight.
So I was
Tons.
so back to accessories and guns and weapons. So weapons are actually more valuable than most of the figures are. Each one of these weapons, if you just go, and I don't have a search up for eBay, but just do an eBay search on original Star Wars weapons. You don't even have, put 1977 Star Wars weapons. You don't even have to put what character, and you'll find some of these things are $30-$40, especially some of the ones for the Power of the Force series, which Jason's got some of those. The weapons alone are $70 for some of them, because that's what got lost all the time, right? They're so tiny, and they get lost, and they're hard to find. So there's fewer of those available than the actual figures themselves. So that becomes really, really a valuable item. But what you need to know if you're going to sell them, if you're going to sell them with a figure, you want to make sure that the figure's got the correct weapon, because believe it or not, the weapons are specifically made. Now there are some figures that carried some of the same type of weapons, this is just an example of some of the weapons that, you know, and who they belong to. There's a site, it's called the imperialgunnery.com. And it's a great little site for some quick information. That's what this is off of. And it talks about weapons and accessories and who they belong to and, you know, what they look like and all that kind of stuff. And the next thing I want to talk about is, you know, fake weapons and some of the reproductions. Unfortunately, due to the advancements in form molding and for 3D printing, there's a lot of reproductions that have been trickling into the collectible scene, especially for Star Wars, and because the values are so high. So there's a couple things you can do to test to see if a weapon or an accessory is an original. Now, this is not 100%. If you go to the imperialgunnery.com, you'll see this. You'll actually see this information. It gives you a good starting point, okay? Because there are always new technologies for reproduction plastics that could duplicate the same test scenario, and you think it's real, and it may not be. So it's really a tough thing to do. But the general rule of thumb is that a weapon will actually float and you put it into a cup of water. It will not drop to the bottom.
All right, Dan, I'm gonna pause you right there. Dan the robot is back.
Okay, let me just
So Dan, refresh and we'll see how let's see if a refresh fixes the problem. I will go back to talking. Where's my thing here? Since you all didn't hear me on the Ugnaught, what I was saying was the Ugnaught came with a cloth covering. The purple thing is a cloth. So often you don't find it. And then I don't know what the heck they call the little thing, but it's like his briefcase. So when you find the Ugnaught with his little cloth and his briefcase and the card back, now you have really an attractive item. So this is worth a lot more than obviously if he didn't have this, if he didn't have his briefcase, and if he didn't have his little cloth covering. So when you can find things like this, it really ups the worth of the item. Is Robot Dan back? Technology is not our friend tonight. Oh, I guess I wasn't on the big screen. Oh, sorry. Got it. Okay. Yep. Technology hates me tonight. So here's the Ugnaught with his cloth and his briefcase. So I think I'm on the big screen now. Let's switch computers. So when you can find them complete, that's when you get that attractive package. Now, what Dan was saying about the weapons sometimes being worth more than the item, this is a Cloud City pilot. And Cloud City is Bespin. That is from Return of the Jedi. That's where Lando Calrissian is. That's where Luke captures them. And so this is a Cloud City pilot. Cloud City pilot with his gun is always worth a good amount, but this is his little intercom. And that is always lost. And I've actually seen dingalings list this action figure with the gun and the intercom for like 30, 35 bucks. But then I see the intercom by itself selling for $45. Aren't asking for the right amount of money. And so when you find these little things, and I saw someone in the chat say it, when you see adults digging, that's what they're digging for. They're digging for that little tiny piece. I mean, look how tiny the intercom piece is. It's almost never there. So when you find it, that's where your money is. Hey, Robot Dan.
I'm back. I sound okay right now?
Well, keep talking. I'll let you know.
Okay, I'm trying. So, where was I? Okay, floating pieces. So if the gun or the accessory sinks to the bottom of the water, then it's probably a reproduction. Now the weird part is there are some original accessories that do sink. Yoda's cane is one of them, and I've got a picture there of Yoda's cane, I think, in there. I think it's the next one coming up. Yeah, there's some floating weapons. There's Yoda's cane. His cane will actually sink because of the plastic or the way, the form that it was used and the density and whatever. A second test for these is a light test, and an original weapon or accessory should be transparent. So you should be able to see the light come through the plastic, no matter what color it is, whether it's a black, white, or gray. There are some exceptions, but by general rule, most all of them should have light to come through. Unfortunately, we don't know how much longer this is going to last, because as they perfect plastics to match these little idiosyncrasies, and we could be really stuck. So it's going to be really hard to determine what's an original. There are some guns and weapons that have marks on them that you can tell came out of the original molds, but it's really, really tough. So you just got to do your best. So that's kind of talking about reproduction fakes and some of the problems with that. But you can still do really well if you got a character or a figure that's got all of their accessories, and it's good to look up what their accessories are. And I have actually a reference book that I use that's a really cool book. It's very inexpensive. It's called Ultimate Guide to Action Star Wars, Vintage Star Wars. And it's got some really good, it's got information, history that tells about every single toy released from the very first ones, gives all the details, even gives like the real storyline history of the character, like their background, what planet they're from, and all that, which is kind of cool. Because, you know, if you don't, reading this is really neat, because this stuff I learned I didn't even know about. But it tells you that what originally came with the figure, like Lando had a cape and he has a weapon. Gives you some prices, but that changes so fast. The values are really, you know, not that important. But it's basically everything from 77 to 1985. And in the back, it even has play sets. Play sets are really cool. You know, here's some cases. I know, Jason, you had what was that? A C-3PO case? Case you got with
I'm working off of one of the vintage C-3PO heads with all these action figures that I'm working on. I got a few hundred that my buddy kept almost every weapon, but they were all in one little compartment. So I've been trying to do what I didn't know that book existed. I need that book. I've been looking at everything, making sure the gun matches the action figure, because that's where you get your money.
So, well, this book's like, I think $20. And I think I bought mine on eBay, and you can buy them on Amazon. You can match up the prices. They're still publish this book. The newer, I don't know if there's a newer edition that might have some values, but the values are changing so fast. I don't see how they can keep up. By the time they, edit the book and print the new edition, the prices have changed. So I don't think they could keep up with it. But it's pretty valuable. You can look up every character, every vehicle. You see what went with the vehicles. Because there are a lot of accessories and pieces that break off and stuff of all of the figures. This is what I'm putting together, and that's another thing for resale. If you're talking about, like, okay, a while back I bought a lot full of snow speeders like this that had, look, you notice the canopy's missing, the cannons are missing. There's a lot of missing parts on this. There's some pieces on the back are missing. So little by little, as I find them available, I've been buying pieces, and I've been able to put like this one together. I am missing one piece, the one piece on the snow speeder, which is very valuable. So there's a harpoon. It's like a block that fits here with a string, and the harpoon fits on here. So you remember when they were flying around and they shot the harpoon around the legs of the AT-AT and it tripped and it fell down. This is what this simulates on the back. Well, that piece come off. It was easily popped off. That was the idea of it. And those get lost. And so to find one of those, I think the last one I was looking at, somebody wanted $25 for. A lot of these pieces, the two cannons here, I think you can get them for $20, and I'm finding them from other collectors who has multiples, and they're willing to sell them. But if you get the parts, if you can find the parts, or you've already got a broken one and you want to sell it for parts, you could do that. You might make a little extra money doing it for parts. But I'm still looking for parts for 2 more of these. I've got like 4 of them, and I'm trying to put together a whole set of them, and that goes for like the Millennium Falcon. I've got a Millennium Falcon here that I'm piecing together that I got really cheap at a on a Facebook sale that I found, and it's missing some pieces. There's I just got that radar dish on the top, and it's missing the glass for this, and it's the little pieces. But you need to know what pieces are supposed to go in it. One of the pieces for this that's very valuable. So you remember in the movie, Luke's training with the little robot ball. He's got his lightsaber, and you train it. And there's a toy version of it. It's a little arm with a string and a ball hanging on the end of it. That was the first thing that got lost on this toy. So I think those things are running like $35 if you can find one of those.
All right, Dan. It's time for the robot refresh. We're gonna call the Dan robot refresh.
Oh my gosh.
So, well, yeah, because we couldn't see you for a while, but you were sounding fine. But now the robot's back. All right. So while Dan's doing that, let me play a little game with the chat, with the chatters. Who's this? Who's this? And what did he do? Anyone? Bueller?
Tell him what I said it was earlier.
What'd you say it was? Oh, yeah. No one? No one knows who this is? Ah, very good, Ken. Ken, this is the Wampa. This is the basically the Yeti that captures Luke and hangs him in his cave. And then Han goes out to get him. Han needs to save Luke's life, and we'll talk about that in a minute, because as soon as we get him back, we always want to make sure he's good until he's not good.
Okay, here I am. I'm talking. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. Is it me now?
No, it is not the monster of the Matterhorn, Debbie. That's a
this
different
guy.
thing.
So this is the blue snaggletooth. This is a very, very kind of very rare piece. As you can see, this particular one sold for $616. It's in very, very good condition. Average condition, played with conditions, you're still going to get $180 to $200 for one of these. And here is why. So Sears was licensed to produce the Cantina set. So it was the Star Wars Cantina, and it had all of the figures in it. The thing is, though, Kenner made the set, and it made the figures for the set, but they made it before the movie came out. It was one of the things they started working on before the movie came out. So they were licensed to make a snaggletooth. And if you look, first of all, you look in there, you barely see the guy in the movie. It's a very quick scene, right? But all they had to design him from was a picture of his face. They had a drawing of Snaggletooth's face. They didn't have his body. They didn't know what color he was. They didn't know how tall he was. They didn't know anything about him except what his face looked like. So this is their idea of what Snaggletooth looked like before the movie came out. So they made this figure for the Cantina set. It only came in a Cantina set. Never was sold as a standalone separate figure. It only came in that Cantina set. So if you go to the next picture, and I think I have a picture of them standing side by side. So the red Snaggletooth is what really came out in the movie. The red Snaggletooth is the real movie guy. And he was sold as a separate standalone figure, carded figure, and part of the whole collection. But the blue Snaggletooth was only sold in the Cantina set, so he's very rare. He was only sold for however many Cantina sets they made. That was the only way you could find him. So if you find one of those, you're doing pretty well. Also, if you find one of those, you can call me first, right?
Hey, just like Tiki's, give me a first shot at Tiki's, give Dan a first shot at Star Wars toys.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. Actually, I don't have a Snaggletooth. I don't know. I've been too busy buying other stuff. I'm thinking, you know what? I should probably get one before the price of those things get really high, and I'm never going to be able to afford one. So, but there are some variants too. And variants on some of the figures are kind of cool. Like you might have. Well, here's a couple I have here real quick. This is my my two Yodas, and my one Yoda. You notice the color. One Yoda is a darker green. The other one is what we call a yogurt. He's a yogurt Yoda, the lighter green. And then this is a variant. So collectors will say, okay, I want one of these. I want one of these. There might be another one that his eyes are a little different, painted on a little different. They'll get one of those. And so they'll end up with, 20 or 30 different Yodas, and they're all different. There is a Yoda with a brown snake. He is more rare. The brown snake is more rare than the orange snake. So at some point they made brown snakes instead around Yoda. Yoda has like 3 accessories. He's got the snake. Actually, he's got 4. He's got the snake. He has his robe, which is cloth. He has the cane, and he has a belt around his waist that his lightsaber is hooked on. So he has a lot of accessories. So to find one complete like this with all his pieces in really good shape, you're looking at $30, $40 easy.
Dan, did you pay your Wi-Fi bill? Oh, there you are.
Am I back? Am I gone again?
No, yeah, I can hear you, but yeah, your picture disappeared.
I'm trying to. I've got like everything. I swear I have everything in Wi-Fi turned off in my house. I have everything. I had turned my wired computers completely off. I made my wife not turn on the Roku box. I had everything turned. I was like, don't touch TV. I was like, nothing. And matter of fact, today I bought a brand new Wi-Fi router, because I knew mine is kind of iffy, and I get something that works a little better. So I ordered one on Amazon. So let's see, where are we here? So we got, what else I got here? Pictures. We talked about fakes. Oh, speaking of fakes, I do have to confess, the picture that
hang on. This picture that I posted, guess what? I fell for a fake. That is not the real Dan.
It's not the real me. No, really. It's not. I have a body double, man, somewhere out there. No, actually, that's not the real George Lucas. I was at Star Wars Celebration, which, if you're in the area when it occurs, it was this year. It was in Orlando, and last year it was in London, England, and the year before that it was in Anaheim. I got to go 2 years ago, and walking the floors, and this guy that looked like George Lucas was walking around, and it was so funny. A lot of people thought it was him. I kind of knew it wasn't him, because I didn't think he'd be walking around like that, but he acted like he was really quiet. He would answer questions, but he was really mellow, and he was really calm. It's kind of, if you've ever seen George Lucas, in public, when he was acting just like him, and so it was cool to get a picture of him. Cool to get a picture with him.
Very cool. All right, let's talk about this Luke that sold for where am I? For $2,000.
Yeah, there you go. So we're back to the 12 backs, or the first 12 figures, and this is a mint on card that sold for $2,000 or $1,950. Okay. Do you see something weird about this listing? Not to rag on anybody's listing. So the guy just bought, and this is a sold listing, he bought a $1,950 item, and shipping was standard shipping at $5.85.
Wow.
I would be a little nervous about that.
Yeah.
So maybe they made it.
I'm going to hand it to you. I'm going to fly it up there and hand it to you.
I think I would be doing that too. I don't know. I'd be driving over there to pick it up, I think. Yeah, and this is this is graded, okay? And I forgot to bring my graded down, but anyhow, this is graded. So there's a company, it's an AFA company. It's called I don't remember what AFA. CGC is another one. It's the same company. They grade magazines and comic books and cards and coins, and they put them in little plastic cases, and there's an expert that looks at them. They give you a certificate. It says what the condition is, all the details of the condition, and they have a numbering system that will, tell you what the quality of the entire item is. This is an AFA 80. It's an overall 80. They'll actually grade multiple pieces of it. They'll grade the card quality, the actual figure quality, and then they have a number for the overall quality. So this is graded as an 80. It's in a plastic case, and there is a hologram with a label on the inside that actually has the grading, and it's got the hologram mark from the AFA company, and that makes this official. It's sealed. You can't open it up unless you crack the thing open. It costs a lot to get some of these things graded. It could be anywhere from $40 to $100 depending on the values of it to get something graded, but it almost in most cases doubles the value of the item. If it's a real hot item, it's worth getting it graded to get the value out of it. Now, sometimes people grade things and they don't turn out to be that popular. And I buy comic books all the time that are maybe not the most popular, but they're cool because maybe they're Star Wars and I like them. And it costs about $30 to grade a comic book, and I've paid $35, $40 for one of them graded. So it's like I don't have to send it off. It's already been graded. You know, it's like it saves me some money and time to have to do it. I did send off some of my own. I have a Marvel. I have the entire Star Wars comic book series. There was 107 comic books, went from 1 to 107, and they came out right when the movie started in '77. I lucked out in it was in the 1980s, and I was starting to buy a lot of comic books, and I found on eBay I bought the whole set for $50. And
Wow.
Plus, it had annuals. It had some of the additional annual versions and some another 4-book series that came right after that in like 1985 in that area. And and there were some duplicates in there. So yeah, I estimating by looking at what's being sold right now, like $300 to $500 right now for that whole set. But I've taken some of the key books out, and I got some of them graded. The number ones I sent off and got graded just so I could have them encased and graded, and kind of protect them and make them worth a little more. And they're cool to display because they're in a plastic case. It's like a frame. There's some other additions in there that are really popular. All the ones that have Boba Fett on the cover are worth a lot more than the next the next edition before or after. Most of them are up to around $8 to $10 a piece for each one of those Marvel comic books. But some of the ones with Boba Fett on the front are $40 to $60 depending on their condition. So that's another thing to look for when you're out and about and you're looking for Star Wars stuff and you see Star Wars comic books. If you get the original Marvel, then from the 70s, it's good to pick them up if they're in good shape and you can get them, really good price. The Marvel made the first series of comic books for Star Wars, and then there was Dark Horse took it over, got the licensing for it for many years, and now Marvel has it back again since Marvel and Disney and Star Wars are now all one and the same. Yeah. So they have it back again, and so now all the new version of the comic books that are coming out are all Marvel printed. So. And there's some of those are the prices are going up a little by little on those too, and just the overall toy series. And we talked about the 12 backs and the 21 backs, and so you went through the 3 movies. You go through all the movies, the first 3 movies, and then right around in '85 and '86 there was the series was called The Power of the Force. And they remade characters that were a little bit differently designed, and they added some characters, some figures in there. And I think Jason's got some of those that he could show. And it was the late '80s that they made these, and it was a limited run. And yeah, each figure came with a coin on the card, and they're actually very valuable, very collectible. So the value on those are probably more.
This guy, so before Dan and I started talking, this guy, I wasn't really sure who he was or where he came from. And then I found him on eBay and I was like, holy shit. And actually, I think I have it actually up, ready to rock and roll here.
And you have the staff. You have his staff.
Yeah, so here, let me switch over back to eBay. Let me back it up here. So look, the last one that just sold with staff, $165 for this character with his staff. No card back, no nothing. Mm-hmm. Just like this. This is $165. Just like that.
Amanaman. His name is Amanaman.
Amanaman, yep. Those pictures you sent me, I definitely want to talk about them because they are so cool. I was so like, whoa, this is awesome. So talk about this. This is killer.
So one of the things I do with my figures, I play with my toys. This is how I play with my toys. So I do like toy art. I'm not the only one that does it. I got kind of caught up in it with a group of other people. I take photographs of toys and with backgrounds and kind of make them look as real as possible. I have an Instagram account. It's More Old Stuff is my Instagram account. If you want to check it out, I usually post my pictures there that I do for toys, and it's kind of, my Instagram account's kind of a little bit of everything, but I do a lot of Star Wars stuff on my Instagram account. When I find stuff or do things and whatever, I do it there too. But this is some of my pictures. I think I sent you a bunch of
when
them.
you sent these, I didn't realize they were all yours. Now I'm even more impressed. This is
yeah. Yeah, so I actually entered a contest. I entered a contest with some of these, like the ones from Hoth, the ones that are on the planet Hoth, which is the winner. Okay, so there's I should get it. So there's a play set. It's a Hoth Imperial base play set. It's like the icy rocks and stuff. And there's a photograph on the cover of the box. And the photographer that took that picture in 1978 was on one of the forums I'm on. There's a forum, and I've got a whole list of them. We'll probably give them to you to tag in the comment and stuff. Because one of them is a forum on Facebook group about displays, Star Wars displays, and you just, all these people put their pictures of displays. But anyhow, he had a contest that he was going to give you what was it? He was going to give you an autographed series of photos that he did. It hadn't been released or something special. I don't remember what it was. If you could take his theme or take that toy and kind of do your own photography with that toy. I didn't win. Sorry. I'm building this up, but I was really excited. I couldn't find. Was funny was I was such a hurry. I wanted to show you the picture of it because I wrote this whole story about the base and what was going on, and I had this explosion and they're flying in the air. All the stormtroopers are like flying in the air and everything with the explosion. But so I got a couple more in there. I guess how many you got there?
This is a great shot.
Yeah, I like this one.
Tusken Raiders.
Yeah, I like this one.
Or the Sand People, as the commoners would call it. Now,
Yeah,
I've never seen this articulated Slave Leia before.
Yeah, this is the Black Series, one of the Black Series that came out in the 90s. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. It came out 2000. When did Black Series? 7, 8? So they were called the Black Series. They came in a black box. They still do some of those, but I'm trying to figure out if we got one around. The Black Series figures have more points of articulation. They're a little bit bigger too. They're not 3 and 3/4 size like the vintage ones are. They're a little bit taller. I think they're almost 4 inches. But yeah, this is the Slave Leia one. Who actually, okay, remember there was some, I don't know if it was some woman or some school or somebody who had filed complaints about the Slave Leia toy as being sexist because she wasn't wearing any clothes and whatever, and then they were trying to they tried banning the sale of it from toy stores, and so everyone went out and started buying these things because they thought they were going to get pulled from shelves, and these things were selling for like $120. They're originally probably about a $15-20 in a box kind of thing, and the value just started shooting up, man. It was crazy. Well, nothing really ever became of it, so now people have got all these kind of expensive Slave Leia toys. They were all scared that they were going to take them off the shelf. Now this is
incredible.
This is actually from a toy. It's a new one that came out with Force Awakens, and it's a TIE fighter that is to scale to a 6-inch figure. Let me twist my screen here, and I'll show you what the original toy looks like if I can.
All right. Let's hope technology stays with us.
Yeah, I'm just going to pick it up and turn it real gently. So that's it up there.
There it is.
It's pretty good size, and it's to scale for the 6-inch Black Series toys. My mouse doesn't kick me off. I think maybe okay. be real gentle here, so I don't disconnect anything. They're like, ooh, don't touch anything. So anyhow, yeah. So I do toy pictures and stuff and play with it. So.
And then I think you had one more. Yeah,
Oh, I love that one.
this one's great too.
This one I did, and it's kind of in. This was when Kenny Baker died, and Kenny Baker was the little person that was actually in R2D2. So I did this photo kind of as a Kenny Baker tribute. I put it on some of the forums, and oh my gosh, the response I got was, I got people saying, "Oh, I'm in tears right now, and this is so sad." And it's like, so it's all the robots, the droids, that all paying tribute, the good and the bad, because there's a Death Star droid in there. The good and the bad paying tribute to Kenny Baker when he passed away.
That's awesome. And after the Star Wars movies, what is Kenny Baker's next best movie?
Was he in? I don't remember.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
What was it?
Time Bandits, Terry Gilliam's Time Bandits, when they're floating.
Yes, I love that.
They get
movie.
the map and they're going through time and space, and oh my God, I love that movie. And he was one of the little guys in that.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, so we did have a couple of beachcombers actually do the homework that you gave them to post up their listings, and I will say one thing about this. One of the keys to taking good pictures for a listing is to never change the distance from the camera to the subject. So Darth in this picture and Darth in this picture are two radically different colors of Darth because you changed where he is and the plane of light to him. So first thing I would say is keep your camera consistent. And you see the white bars on the left and the right. eBay gives you square pictures. You should square them up to fill all that space. Do not give up real estate. I do like the close-up of Darth. You don't need to see the whole thing in the first shot, but fill up. Make it a square photo. So do you know about these talking plush buddies?
No, I've not seen one of these.
Yeah, I've never seen this line before.
Stuff from 2004.
Yeah.
I'll have to keep my eye out for these.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, Ken, you and I just saw Ken said Time Bandits. Ken, you and I, are you sure we're not brothers? Because you always know what I ask, and, you're right on. So, yeah, Zan and I don't even know this line, so that's cool. But, yeah. I would definitely work on your pictures a little bit, and because you want to be attractive, because the problem when you have different colors in your pictures is the customer getting this Darth, or this Darth. They're all looking different, and so if a customer files an item not as described, you're not going to win because you have 3 looking different Darths in your pictures.
Yeah, I learned the 1-to-1 ratio from you because I always felt that way, and I use my phone to take photos for my eBay stuff, and I had to download, I had to search because the built-in camera would not do the 1-to-1 ratio and give me a square picture. So I had to download, I think I even bought one, and I remember I had to buy another camera app that would do that, and that's all I use that one camera app for, is to take my eBay photos, and it actually works out really well. I do my photos and listing from my phone.
Little grouping of the Burger King toys.
Oh yeah.
So the only suggestion I would have on your first shot, because I kind of like it, is to get it a little bit tighter of a group, square that photo up, and I would have come down a little bit. Just not straight on. I like your upper angle, but come down a little bit because you can't see some of the faces. Grouping is what I would recommend. Entry. Now. Yes. Yeah. Robin said it right away. What's that glare on this pop box? So you either have a light shining right on it or you used your flash, which you should never use your flash. So, but good job. You've sold 3 so far, so that's cool. Yep. So I got one more thing to show here. So, Robin, if my prop master would get back up, and actually, I'm gonna do it on this camera, I think, because it'll be a better. Where did I go? There I am. All right, so let me. There we go. Okay, so I'm a Star Wars nerd too, just like Dan, but Dan's got a lot more crap than I do. But I do have some cool pieces. And all right, go ahead and hold it up. Stacy got me this for my birthday one year. It is a Tauntaun sleeping bag. Is what Han had to cut open to save Luke's life and keep him warm. And so this is a Tauntaun sleeping bag. So if you remember the scene, Han takes Luke's lightsaber, cuts the belly open, and the guts fall out. And Han says, boy, I thought they smelled bad on the outside. And then he pulled all the guts onto Luke to keep him warm while he built a shelter. So the zipper, here's the lightsaber. So you're cutting the Tauntaun open, and inside is the guts.
That's cool.
Right up. So yes, that is a bitchin' awesome present from my wife a few years back for my birthday.
That's cool. I think Robin should have gotten in it, and you should have opened it up and pulled her out of it.
Yeah. Robin, get in there. All right, so let's. I'm so thankful for all of you that hung with us through the technical difficulties. You know, that's a whole different movie. Oh, snap! How about Jawas? Jawas got in our system, Dan.
Oh, really?
All right. So this is not a question, but Ken Faust said, I am digging the Image Comics display behind your head there.
Yeah, you know what? I found that at where did I find that at? I think I found that at a thrift store. And it's cardboard. It's like just cardboard. I have in it, what I have in it is my Star Wars. So they made a comic book series in every, you know, there's variants for most of the comic books. And the variants, one of the variants is it looks like the front of a toy card and it has the figure in it. So they made at least one for almost all the figures. I'm still going through getting them. So I use that for my comic book display in there. So thanks. I actually told a guy in a comic book store that I had one of those because he had one in his shop, and I go, oh, hey, I got one of those. He goes, really? I go, how'd you get that? You're not supposed to have those. That's like only dealers. And he's making a big deal about it. I was, oh, sorry. I just bought it at the thrift store.
All right. So again, not a question, but my mom said, ask Jason what I did with his collection. So we didn't have that send away, but once the toys showed up in the stores, single toy, we had the second send away for the Boba Fett. The first one had the actual shooting rocket. Right away they realized kids were choking, they stopped letting the rocket shoot out, but we had it all. And then 1 year and we had it all from Empire and most of everything from Return. Let's sell it at a garage sale for like pennies on the dollar. So everything went bye way too cheap.
Yeah.
And Brenda Harmon asked, and I think we kind of answered it, but I'll go over it. How can you tell if it is a reproduction? If the copyright date is 77 or 78, is that the true date? And you said it's the copyright date, not the date it was made. But the ones nowadays won't have that on the back, right?
Yeah, that's different. All the newer ones that were made, and it's actually, there's not very many reproduction figures. I just think it's really difficult. Although there's more reproduction modern stuff coming out of China, like all the Black Series stuff that you see, they sell them on eBay. You'll know right away when they're selling what's normally selling for $30 for like a Boba Fett in the box is selling for like $8.95, and it's coming from China. They've reproduced everything, right? So, but the vintage figures is very seldom that you find reproduction ones. I have not. I just don't think they want to go to that much work, because actually, I mean, even to make one now, they do reproduce carded mock setups, and here's what they do with the age of digital printing. They can make a duplicate of the front and back of a card to look immaculate. They can reproduce the plastic bubbles that cover the figure. They reproduce those. There is a trick for determining whether it is an original or not, and that is where they glue the bubble onto the card. the original company, Kenner, when they did it, they used a special heated glue machine that would glue them on, and it would leave this like checker mark design around the card, around the bubble that goes around the card. Let me see if I can pull on up here for you, show you real quick. So around the bubble, this has a bubble on it, but there's no figure in it. This edge that's flat around here has it's got little crisscrosses, and it's really hard for the counterfeit guys to reproduce that. I'm sure they're going to figure it out, but that's one of the things that you originally look for, is that there's other things about the printing that, I mean, the guys that are really good, I'm not that good at it, so I mean, I have to be careful myself sometimes when I'm buying this stuff, but sometimes they'll find flaws in the quality and what's written in the text and on the back, or in the edges of the card. But that's where, because those carded ones are worth a lot more, so they'll get an original figure, but they'll take a really good condition original loose figure, stick it in a card, and reproduce the card in the bubble. So now they've taken
Tons of bitches.
yeah, they've taken like a $15 value character and made it a $900 one, right, to make you think that it's in a, so that's really, really, really hard to pick that out. You got to be really careful.
And then Brenda also asked, what do you find them loose at a sale? How do you value them? Well, you just go to eBay. And so you've got to know what you got, and I can help. Others can help. Dan can help. So if you just have a character and you don't know what you got, like when I was working on these, I still don't know this guy's name.
That's
his name,
Senator something. He's a senator.
I know enough. I know enough to figure out how to look him up quick. Like I forgot Amanamon's name before we went. That if I just typed in bounty hunter, because he was a bounty hunter, I would eventually find him. So with a little bit of knowledge, you can keep working through it. If you have no knowledge, that's cool. If you've never seen the movies, we highly recommend them. I still think they hold up very well all these years later. George was ahead of the game in his special effects, and I still think they're pretty good.
Now, the series that came after that, the ones that came in the late 90s, oh, there's another little genre of toys that came after your Power of the Force. So there was Adventures of the Ewoks. I think it was or there was another one called The Droids, Adventure of the Droids, and there was an Adventure of the Ewoks, and it was like, I think they were cartoons. Well, they made figures for those in a limited series after that. Those are starting to become a little more valuable, especially carded. Then after that, in the 90s, when the next set of movies came out, all of the Clone Wars and all of that series of movies, they made figures. They continue to make figures from then until now, but they made so many of them because there was they knew the collectability of these things was growing, and they knew people would just be buying these. They made so many of them that they're really not worth any more than they were when you bought them for $5 back then. There's a few that have variations in them. There's some variants. They'll be on an orange card. I don't know if I have one behind me that I could show you. I should have showed you one. So they'll be, you know what, let me show you real quick, because it's important to see these, because it's really easy to see. I got an orange one here. Hold on.
And then the rarest Star Wars item of all time is the Star Wars Christmas special that aired one time and one time only.
This is called
once it was done. Dan's back.
This series is called Power of the Force 2 or Power of the Force.
Oh, that's the buff Luke.
Yeah. So that's Luke. Yeah, if you see him. Now here's an interesting. There's three variations of this. And I wasn't going to show. I'll show you. Let me hold on.
Such a fan.
The Christmas special that aired, and George said, "What the hell did we just make? B. Arthur is singing with Chewbacca? What?"
So there is something, if you can find this, because a lot of people don't recognize these right off. Only serious collectors may know about this stuff. So they made this. Okay, let me get the right one. So they made this one first. This is Luke, and if you'll notice, his lightsaber is long. It goes all the way up to here, and the slot.
My lightsaber is long.
The slot is long. Can you hear me? You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And the lightsaber is real long. And then they decided to change the character, and they made him again the next series of him. It's the same card, same everything. You really can't tell the difference. I have this in a plastic case, so it's kind of hard to see. They made a short lightsaber, but they put it in the same plastic slot, and the slot is long for the long one. So there's a short lightsaber in a long slot. Okay, this is the one that's kind of rare because they didn't make very many of these, because the next version that came out was the short lightsaber in the short slot. So they made a slot to fit the short lightsaber. So it went from long lightsaber, short lightsaber in a long slot, and a short lightsaber in a short slot. So these you can find a lot of, and you can find a lot of the first ones, but the ones where you have the short lightsaber in a long slot, they're fairly rare. And so that's kind of a neat.
And that's a great thing. And I've got my Tiki webinar coming up a little over a week, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to show you a mug. I took it downstairs. I'm going to show you a mug. I have like 7 variations of the exact same mug,
right?
But I'm going to show it. What you got to remember, because you might never find the mug I'm going to show you. You might never find that specific character action figure, but collectors will collect all the variations of the same thing. Dan is taking up wall space to have all 3 versions. I am taking up shelf space to have all 7 versions of the same damn mug.
Yeah.
So what I want you to keep in mind, whether you find these things or not, are when you're hunting, when you're hunting, keep your eyes peeled and start to learn when you're getting into something new, whether it be Tiki mugs, Star Wars toys, or whatever. Start to learn that there is variations of the same product, and learn what the rare one is. And so when you find it, you're like, yay, holy grail.
Yeah. And I actually have one beyond that. This is a graded tri-logo. So it's the same figure, long lightsaber, long slot, but it's in 3 languages. This was made in Europe. And they printed this in here. So it's in French, English.
I never seen that. That's cool.
And Spanish. And it's graded. I stumbled upon this one. I've never seen one since then, especially graded. I haven't found one. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So wait, Robin has a question. You might not be able to hear, but hang on. I'll relay.
Ask him, are there any toy makers in European countries that came up with things?
Yeah.
I mean,
so
okay.
a whole nother genre of collecting for Star Wars is all the bootlegs. So originally they were just kind of disposed of because they were really ugly. They didn't make them look very good. I could find some, but if you go on, and you can just, actually you should probably be able to go on to eBay and you could search for bootleg Star Wars. And one of the most popular ones is like Poland. In Poland, they made bootleg copies of Star Wars figures, and they carded them, and it's in their language, and they're like, but the colors are really bizarre on some of them. They painted them really different colors and stuff. So they're so unique now to find one, because first of all, they're fairly old, and the fact to still find one from Poland that's still in its original package, and they're very collectible right now. So if you see something Star Wars that looks weird, don't just say, oh, that's trash. I mean, it could be something that's rare, because it could be a bootleg that is from another country. There's Mexican bootleg Star Wars figures on card. Every country had something that they bootleg when they wanted to jump on the bandwagon for toys during the Star Wars time, wanted to make some money.
Do they advertise that as bootleg, or do they?
So they actually say bootleg on eBay, and eBay doesn't pull them?
I think they say bootleg. I think they probably do. I think I've found them that say bootleg. They'll say Star Wars, and they'll say like Polish bootleg, figure or something like that.
Huh. All right. Well, I'm going to Europe in the fall, and I'm going to some flea markets, so I'm hunting for Polish
bootleg
Star Wars figures. All right, we're going to end on that, because that is awesome. So, Dan, thank you very much. I know we only scratch the surface, but, just want to bring you guys all kinds of different things to hunt for, different collectibles, and, we can all find vintage jeans at the thrift store and sell them, and we can all find modern jeans that sell too. But when you start learning the collectibles and start to get a feel for it, and, my buddy gave me his collection, and even though I knew what I was talking about, collection of anything, you really get to know. Like I could have given a pretty hearty speech myself tonight, but Dan knows way more than I'll ever will. But the one best way to find to learn something is to work on a collection. So if you see a collection of Star Wars toys advertised, or strawberry shortcake, or anything that was collectible, especially from our youth, those of us who are in the 40 to 50 range, buy that collection, break it down, learn it. And that's what, look, I only used to buy and sell music, nothing else. Even though I knew these are things I wasn't buying and selling them, but I've taught myself a lot of stuff. So the more well-rounded you could be, the better seller you can be, the more money you can make, the more you can do things with that money. So, Dan, thank you very much, buddy. I owe you a meal and a rum cocktail when you get here for Comic-Con.
All right.
And speaking of, I'm going to take my 2 girls here out for rum right now. So, Secret Beachcombers, thank you very much. I know we had some technical difficulties. I hope you enjoyed working through that. But Dan's around. If you got questions, I'm around if you got questions. And we are always more than happy to help everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys. And thanks for your questions.
See y'all around. And that's it. Bye-bye. Have a good night, everybody. May the force be with you.
Yeah.
Yoda back up here. Yoda,
we're going to end on Yoda. There he is. Yay. Oh, I so want one of those toys. All right. Thank you, everybody. Nighty-night.